This video is going to be a little different. It's going to be talking about how to get to your first $100,000. So just a little intro on myself. Currently, I'm sitting at a net worth of about 200-ish thousand dollars Canadian. And I'm currently 25 years of age, and I did a lot of heavy investing when I was younger, and I'm going to be talking about what I learned along this way. So some important skills I learned along the way is acquiring superpowers. So you're probably like, yo, what are you talking about, bro? Superpowers, those are not real. But I swear to God they are, okay? The superpower I acquired is learning people's names, just remembering people's names. And you may think like, that's not a superpower, bro, but I swear to God it is. The amount of bridges it opened up, the amount of opportunities that I've gotten just by being nice and remembering people's names. So I read a lot of books, another skill I acquired. I read a lot of like psychology books, money books, like 48 Laws of Power, super red flag book, by the way. And, stuff like How to Win Friends, Influence Others, that kind of stuff. They talked about learning people's names and remembering them. It's like honey to a bee. It's the same thing with humans, bro. Just saying their name and just remembering their name, it'll make you more likable, more approachable, and it'll just open a lot more opportunities for you. So just an example. Say you go up to say you're like a gamer, right? And you go up to like this gaming event and you see this famous dude, right? And like you just go up to him and be like, "Hey, how's it going, man? Like, I'm Cameron. What's your name?" He says, "Yo, my name's Eric, bro." Like, "Yo, Eric, man, I've heard a bit about you, man. You're pretty good at the game and all that." Just give him a gentle compliment. But just remembering people's names, you just tend to be more approachable. You never know. You might run or have a similar path down the road, and you might need this guy's help, or he might need your help, and you guys already acquainted yourself, or you know the guy, so you seem much more approachable compared to the couple other people that this guy might have to approach. So the next one, another skill that I learned along this journey, is to be comfortable with failing. And I know that's very hard for a lot of people. The best advice I can give for you is just to get out of your comfort zone, bro. Just go up to that girl and ask her out. She says no, it's all good, bro. Just get comfortable with failing. Failing's a part of life, and you're probably gonna fail like 80%, 90% of the time, and that 10% of the time you succeed, you're gonna be grateful you even took that opportunity, man. Maybe that girl says yes. Next thing you know, you guys get married and have a kid, bro. Live happily ever after. Another skill that I acquired was the importance of discipline. Discipline is very hard in this day and age with like a lot of like these TikTok brains, doom scrolling, just going to the gym once a day or like a couple times a week, or sorry, couple times a week, is just really hard for some people nowadays, man. But just doing like one simple task every single day is like gonna be good for you. It's gonna develop a lot of important skills you're gonna need, especially in this future, in this day and age. And the last one I'd say for skills that I've acquired and are super beneficial for me is to be generous and not expect anything in return. So for example, I met this volleyball guy, right? And he lived in my building, and I said, "Hey, how's it going, bro?" Next thing you know, this guy's a Australian dude. He's talking to me like an Aussie, bro. And I say hi, be nice and all that, say his name. He says, "My name's Tim." And I'm like, "Yo, what's up, Tim? How's it going, bro?" Just being my friendly self. And later down the road, he helps me out with, getting me some stuff from the grocery store, or just coming to chat, drinking some tea, just anything, he just helping me out. And, if I wasn't being like generous, offering him some like free food, or, something, get him a coffee once in a while, just being nice, friendly, not expecting anything in return, I wouldn't have this connection, bro. All right, and the next thing we're going to be covering is strategies to implement. So what kind of implementing strategies, getting in your investing journey and all that. So, make sure to start investing. Doesn't matter what age, how old you are. You can be like 30, 40, 50, you could be like friggin' 18, 19. But, just getting started investing early, super, super important. You might be wondering like, what would I even be investing in? Bro, it's super, super simple. Okay, you could do some research on it, but just get like a good ETF, which is like an electronic trade fund, which is like the S&P 500. Just covers all the top companies in America. And you just buy one ETF, bro. And You're already covering 500 different companies. You're allocating into different businesses. It's going to be just great for you, super easy, and you can sleep at night, which is super important for, a lot of people. I don't want you to be like throwing your money away and then seeing it go down a lot of money, and you're just going to be like, yo, this is quite sad. I can't sleep at night. And yeah, if you do an ETF, you can sleep at night because over a 10-year span, you're guaranteed money. And this is since the dawn of time. You can look it up yourself. You get a average return of like what, like 7 to 9%, which is higher than inflation rate, which is great. And another important strategy to implement is just to keep developing yourself, man. Like, I don't know how important, like how much I can stress this. It's just keep developing yourself, bro. Just improving yourself, making yourself more valuable, keep learning new skills, never stop learning, and I promise you, it can never go wrong. You will be successful, and I promise that. And that kind of concludes this video. More videos like this coming soon. Make sure you like the video if you guys enjoyed, learn something new. If you got any questions, drop it down below. I'm a nice guy. If you guys were to take something away from this video, it's just to start learning on investing if you haven't already. And just keep developing yourself, bro. Never go wrong. Yeah. But yeah, that concludes the video. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And I'm out. Peace.